Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you this morning. Another volatile day, another volatile overnight session. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about how we're feeling. We're going to get into our feelings today a little bit, how we're feeling about the market. We'll talk about what businesses could be potentially positively impacted by the coronavirus only getting worse here. We're seeing some, you could call them short squeezes out there, some rallies in some lower price names. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bill Ackman's appearance on CNBC yesterday. That was pretty interesting and aligns with some stuff we were saying on the show yesterday. And we'll get to your questions from our chat. I want to bring Joel on now. Joel, tell us what's the word here in the overnight trading session as I try to unmute you. Hold on one second. Your unmute is not working. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, Spencer.
There we go. There we go.
I got to do it. I got to go back to the mute unmute trick here.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't let me unmute you for some reason. Anyway.
Yeah, because I was self-muted.
Okay.
Lisa wishes that she had a mute button on me, but
yeah, she does.
Anyways, big old range overnight. We had a spirited rally up to 2460. I'm going to use the intraday highs now. I think the intraday highs are so important because of these ranges. So the intraday high from yesterday was 2442. We got to 2460 overnight. So we're not going to split hairs. We're going to call.
How much was that up from the close? Because there's a lot of newer listeners now. We're getting a lot of different types of people. They might not, just be following the numbers that closely. So if you say, maybe when we're doing the numbers, we could say that was up 5% from the close, or that was up 3% from the close. So
well,
just
you do the percent. I'll tell you the number.
I don't have the E-mini futures quote.
No. Then you tell me the percentages. We were up.
Yeah, make me do the math.
We were up 60 handles from the close.
There you go. That's what I want to hear.
Okay.
All right. So you're up almost. You're talking roughly speaking 2.5 to 3% from the close.
Then we fell 200 points. We fell to 2275.
And then we rallied.
then we rallied.
Can we see this overnight chart, Spencer? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Oh, maybe it is there. Yeah, I think he's got it there.
Yeah, maybe. You know what?
Here's a 1 minute chart for you, Dennis.
No, not 1 minute.
Never.
Spencer, should I start learning how to share my screen better? Because I got a really sweet chart on here. I'm going to practice today, and then we'll do it tomorrow.
Don't use the 1 minute charts. People don't use them.
Here's a 15-minute chart. It shows you the overnight.
Okay,
no, I don't want. No, go 15 minutes, Spencer. Go 15.
He just did.
We're at 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. You had that spirited rally. Then you had the break. Now, the interesting thing about the break is you did not get to the low from yesterday. You missed it by 10 handles. So there's your line in the sand on the downside, right?
Yeah.
And then your line on the sand on the upside is that 2460. So we can no chance of an outside day yet because of the upside, but once again, I'm not looking for like major rallies. I'm just looking for some calm downness. That's that's my overall thinking on that. Moving on to crude. Man, that thing got down to 20.55 yesterday, and the big boys came in. I don't know if they were covering shorts. I don't know what the hell was going on, but some major volume came in, and crude got a boost. 20.55, probably a lot of people were waiting for $20, but that didn't happen. So let's keep an eye on 20.55. Gold's just meandering today, up or down $3 here. Let's call it 14.75. Silver up nearly 3 cents at $12.05. Silver's just gotten tarnished. Bitcoin, we got a rally in Bitcoin here. We're up $335 at 5,675. So try not to be too complicated on that. I'm sure I am. folks, if you got any questions, I'm going to get into the YouTube chat, and
Yeah.
we got to go back to answering questions and find out what people want to know about. We can talk till we're blue in the face, but we want to try and make you guys educated, informed, and help you try and navigate through these markets.
All right, so let's talk, just talk for a few minutes here about the overall market. And yesterday around 2:30, it actually felt like capitulation. It felt like everybody was throwing in the towel. I was looking at Honeywell and it was down $30. So you're talking about a stock that, they're not even really at fault here. They just have a lot of debt and they're hitting anything with debt. I mean, it really did feel like that was capitulation. It felt like that. In normal markets, I would have turned around and started buying everything. But because the negative news flow potential to still come here is so incredible, I don't know if it was, I was thinking, I think that was it. I think that was a short-term bottom. I was saying it to my friends. I was saying it to some other traders. I was saying it to my wife. I felt like that was it around 2:30. And then when we really spiked after that, we obviously spiked into the close because we got down to 228 on the SPY, spiked over 241. And then we went up to 248 after hours. So it looked like pretty good, but then we give it all back again. So, and you have to ignore my nasally voice. Here's my issue. I have a sinus infection. I know I have it because whenever I get a bad cold, I get a sinus infection afterwards. I got to get antibiotics to get rid of it. I don't know how I'm going to get antibiotics because I'm obviously just staying in my house and I don't want to go to a doctor to go get a prescription. And I don't want to go to the pharmacy to actually go get the prescription. So I got to figure that out. But anyways, you're going to have to live with the nasally voice for a little bit. Hopefully my body can fight it off, but who knows? So anyways, that's the nasally voice.
Let me make
story.
one comment on that,
yep.
Dennis. We've had a lot of capitulations.
We have, but that felt we haven't seen a stock like Honeywell, which is a stock that's not even on people's radar as having problems, like before yesterday, falling 30%. I mean, there were stocks that were down 20-30% across the board yesterday in one day. I mean, you look at the overall carnage and you say, yeah, the market was down 8 or 9%, at one point in time. But individual stock action was absolutely insanity. There was a lot of stocks that were down 30% yesterday. The same stocks, the airlines we've been talking about, and I'm going to say it again. I think the airlines, are in big, big trouble. They might get a bailout, but I think it could be at a lot lower price. Boeing, significantly down. We've been talking about that. When people were asking if it was cheap 179, I said it could go to zero, or, it's maybe worth $5 to $10 in the case of, government bailout. It's not worth much if, they do have to get a bailout here. So that those stocks continue to be very, very weak despite whatever the market does. So casinos, cruise lines, airlines, those are no touches. No, absolutely no touches. Those could potentially 90% down from where they currently. Hotels, like the Ackman interview, he was spot on. People don't want to hear that, but what he was saying was spot on. They need to shut it down. We've been talking about this. Maybe watch his pre-market prep.
Yeah,
we have been talking about this. Shut it down for a month. We've been saying this on the show for weeks, and people get pissed off at me for saying it. That's what needs to happen. We need to shut it down, stop the virus from spreading, and then reboot. It's like you're going to have heart surgery. Here's an analogy. You're going to have open heart surgery. But the doctor doesn't want to stop your heart to perform the surgery because he's scared he won't get it started again. So he's just going to try to tie up all the ventricles and do everything on the heart while the heart is actually beating. Boom, 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 boom. So no, it's not how it works. You stop the heart, you fix the problem, and then you restart the heart. That's what we need to do here. We need to stop the economy short term, shut it down, stop the spread, fix the problem, and then reboot the economy. That is a success. That's the way that you're going to see success. That's the way China did it. That's the way Singapore has done it. Italy is a little bit too late to the party. We might not be too late here yet. That's what needs to happen. People are still going about their daily business. I've got, friends that are still going into work that can work from home, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, one thing, if you have to go to work, I guess there's nothing you can do about it. But if you don't absolutely need to be out, like I've got friends that said, my one buddy that has to go to work, he's driving by, he says, I look at the parks and the parks are packed. He says, there's all kids playing on the parks. People think it's like a snow day and they could just take your kid out to the park and play on the playground equipment. That's not helping. That's the kids, even if they're not getting sick, they're going to be carriers. That's not helping the problem. The problem comes from the spread. So we need to, Ackman spot on, shut her down for 30 days, and then restart it. And you know what? We might actually get past this. But if we keep just, trying to just slowly, oh, we'll keep this open, we'll keep this open. We don't want to, we want to just go easy on the economy. The economy can't handle it. No, the economy can't handle this slow, steady, short decline. What we need to do is shut her down and restart it, because if we just keep slowly, like hotels are already empty. I mean, the hotel stocks like Ackman saying, if we could keep going on like this for months and months, Hilton and all of them are going to go out of business. But if they can handle a 30-day stoppage, stop it and restart it. That's what needs to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with both. Go ahead, Spencer. I'll let you hop in.
It was watching that Ackman interview.
Scary.
It was scary. It was scary only because it's scary to see someone who is, I guess, is known for being he's a pretty composed guy. I feel like he's been on TV a lot over the years.
Very good speaker.
He's a good speaker. He's pretty composed, and he's made a lot of money for himself. He's done very well. And to see someone like that, like just basically panicking, it was scary. That being said, he did say, he kind of echoed what I tried to say, but he said it better yesterday, which was he's buying because what choice do you have? And buying stocks now is a bet on society getting past this, right? It's a bet on this not being the end of the world, right? So,
though?
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Yeah. But again, he it was very conflicted. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, there you go, Dennis.
Here he's saying Hilton's going to zero, then he's saying he's buying Hilton. I'm telling you, I'm not buying Hilton stock.
Yeah.
Because it could go to zero. I told you which stocks, I've said on the show for the last week. If you're buying stocks here, look at the balance sheets. Look at the stocks that don't have a lot of debt. Those are the ones that are going to hold up better because they can get through this. It's why Apple isn't down. It's why Apple isn't down 50% or 60%. Apple's down and the valuation was extreme, but it's still holding on. It's why Google is holding up fairly well. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, it's still ugly as hell, but we're not in an epic fall where you're down 80% like some of these other stocks. So I don't totally understand, how he could come up with that bearish of a rant and then say I'm buying stocks.
I know that, Dennis. You must have been reading my mind, and buddies are texting me like, oh yeah, he was saying that, and then he wanted people to sell, and he was bottom, and he was buying. No. There's too much risk for that
happening. That was real.
Yeah. So on Twitter, oh, that's the Ackman bottom.
Saw a lot of that. A lot of that yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean,
it might have been.
I mean, but and there's a couple other things here. He said he has had his group, working at home since like mid-February or whatever, and yeah, he was way ahead of the curve. And two of his people, have it in his office. Well, how are those two people doing?
He said one. He said one of them can't get tested. So
yeah, they can't get tested. I mean, I know some people that are very close to me that have not been feeling good. There's just a lot of things going on.
Yeah, but there's a lot going on. It's scary right now. Long term, if you are throwing stuff in your account for the next 20 years, like Spencer is real, you'll probably be happy that you did it at some of these prices. But if you're buying Boeing and saying, how can I go wrong with Boeing? I tell you, you could go 20 years from now, you might not get your money back in Boeing. You might not. You might. But I tend to think that these are the companies I don't want to bet on. So bet on, companies like Apple, Google are going to come back. I believe they're going to come back. I believe in what Spencer's saying, that the U.S. economy is going to go on. So if you don't know which companies to pick, maybe you buy some ETFs. Maybe you just buy the SPY. Maybe you just buy the Qs and saying, I don't know which companies are going to survive, which companies are not going to, but the indexes will still survive. Maybe that's how you go about it. I don't know. I'm not advocating to come in here and say, load up and buy everything. But if you're nibbling and you have a lot of cash, it's probably not a bad idea. I'm still selling rips. I sold more stocks into the rips yesterday in my long-term portfolio. I think I'm almost 80% cash now. So you can tell how confident that I am that the bottom is in. I'd love to come in here and start buying stocks, but the potential news flow is still very, very bad. And we are still in the very early innings of this. I want to be a buyer in the 6th or 7th inning when we've got light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, you can't see it. So I think you're early yet. I do believe you're early yet. With that being said, it was a nice rally yesterday off the Ackman low or whatever you want to call it. But we've given it back here overnight again. It's very scary. If you have money in the market that you need next week, it should not be in there and it should be sold into any rally. But
Next
if you're
week,
holding on,
I would say next few years.
next few years for
Next
sure.
few years.
No,
Yeah.
I'm hearing horror stories of people, that are margined out and they're like trying to meet margin calls. I mean, buying stocks, we've said it all for years, and you have said this too, Joel. Buying stocks on margin is crazy. This is the type of 2000 we watched in 2007, 2008, people buying stocks on margin. And trading on margin is one thing, but when you're buying stocks in your investment portfolio on margin, I think it's nuts, because this environment happens and the markets fall 35%, you blow out. You blow out everything. You lose it all. You're still, if you're just using your own cash, well, you're down 35%, on your stocks or whatever when we hit the lows yesterday. That sucks. But you know what? You can survive it. So, but putting in money that you need, money for the bills, is crazy. Do not do that. So don't just think I'm going to go all in here. How can I go wrong and I make a lot of money? Right now, the whole goal is to keep your money. And that's why the stocks keep selling off. We don't know which companies are going to survive. There is going to be a lot of bankruptcies coming. Small companies that aren't even listed, small businesses, there are going to be a lot coming. We don't know which ones. You can kind of guess, though, when you start looking at balance sheets. And that's why, we've guessed, I've just given you the sectors multiple times. The cruise lines, airlines, there's probably going to be bankruptcies in these sectors. Oil stocks, no touch for me. But some of these techs that don't have any debt or very low debt aren't bad bets here.
We got to calm down first. Before I start even looking at stuff. I mean, this stuff just doesn't just turn around on a dime and go back up, right? And look, I said before, the market will bottom, ahead of, the pre-market prep show. There's some big money being thrown out there, and I don't know who it is, but these rallies and these, I mean, it's the bulls versus bears, and you see some major capitulations, and then you see some major rallies. But the last overall market, or we can continue to talk about the overall market, but, I think we're holding up pretty good. What does that mean? Does that mean we're just, we're just the greatest shorting opportunity in the world, and we can, and we're going
explain
down
why, because people see the market's down 30%. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? I know what you're talking about. Explain why you think the markets are holding up pretty good.
Okay. I like to keep an eye on highs and lows and closes on daily charts. I think it's important for stocks and commodities, futures, whatever. And going back here, Monday and Tuesday, we had two lows at 23.50 and 23.52. So that was a major level, and that was an impetus for a 300-point rally, and then a 200-point rally. And then, we had another, then we took out that low yesterday. But we're still trying to, I mean, if you think about it, we are still trading in the area of what was a very significant support point. And we did close above it yesterday. Now, I don't know if we're going to close above it today. Our low close of the move would be 2,400. So if we could close today anywhere between 2,350 and 2,400, I'd be happy. I mean, I would say that the market is still hanging in there. Obviously, if we take out that low from yesterday, and some may want to consider it a double bottom right now, because 22.62 is the low from yesterday and 22.75 is the low for now. So if we do it again, take that out, then I can't tell you I do have some levels, but I don't want to throw them out here yet until we do it. So, hang in here, get above 23.50, post a higher close on the move, and that. So for me, with everything that's happened since Monday and Tuesday, I feel like we're just kind of, hanging in there. So that's my perspective.
The decline has been very orderly. I mean, we have had so many snapback rallies. It's not like we've just been straight. Like people went, it's went down, it's went up, it's went down, it's went up, it's went down, it's went up. I mean, it's went down more, but the decline has been so orderly. It's not like we're down 1,000, then we're down another 2,000, then we're down another 2,000, and everybody's caught. The day traders are still getting out. They're actually buying dips, and they're actually able to get out on the rips, and they're actually still not caught. We haven't caught anybody really yet. In certain sectors we have. I mean, like the home builders, they go down every single day. I mean, Lennar blows it away here and it's down again. We know why, because there's debt issues there, and who the hell is building a new house when we come out of this? There's stuff to think about with that, even with low interest rates. So there's the money implosion here tells me that there's going to be a lot of action of building a brand new house. There's going to be a lot of houses for sale probably because of the money implosion here. So, you know, a little bit of a housing bubble burst probably on the horizon if it's not, you know, already there. So home builders are probably ground zero for that. So I don't want to own those either, despite awesome valuations. You look at Lennar and you think, oh, things trade 4 times earnings. Yeah, going forward, those earnings aren't going to be as good. But the carnage, like what you're saying, the markets are holding up pretty well. I look at the internals and I look at what's in there. And I'm like, I agree. I mean, the overall indices has held up very well. You know what's held them up? Stocks like Walmart. Walmart made a new 52-week new all-time high yesterday for Walmart. That is unbelievable. It's silly. I'm telling you, if I had Walmart, I'd be selling it like in my long-term portfolio because it's a gift. Same thing like you see these stocks like Blue Apron. I mean, they're ripping here this morning because, oh, it's food delivery. This is exactly what we need. It's a total coronavirus play here right now. Things squeezing the hell out of the shorts now. Goes from 2 to 23, talking about shorts just getting annihilated if they were still shorted. But, you know, and this thing could continue to go for a little bit here. But again, when the dust settles, this thing's, you know, probably going to go right back down when we get past this. But Walmart, Costco, and this rally in the food stocks, like the canned food stocks like GIS, is a gift, in my opinion. It's a gift. I don't think these stocks, you know, are worth that much more because all of a sudden we're never going to leave the house again. We are going to leave the homes again. We are going to get past this. So normal markets will come back here once again. But I mean, when you look at the carnage on the other side of it, like I said, my stocks like Honeywell yesterday, or the home builders, or anything with a lot of debt, you're like, you know, even Nucor, like look at the steel stocks, look at like, it's just across the board. The gold stocks, the gold miners have been hit hard too. Stocks you would, I think, would be defensive in this environment. They have a lot of debt. You don't want to buy things with a lot of debt right now because where if credit gets tight, those companies could be in trouble. So, and that's what we're in. Like, you know, people say, you know, are we going to get pushed in the next financial crisis? Because we are in a financial crisis. This is financial crisis part 2. We are in one. These stocks are pricing like they are in one. The preferred stocks, PFF, bring that thing up. Somebody was yelling at me, you know, or talking to me 3 weeks ago on the chat. Why would you sell your preferred stocks? When I sold them all. And I was like, because if they start to, if the credit starts to become a concern, they will hit those stocks. Look at PFF, how much that is down. Bring up a long-term chart. It doesn't even look like it belongs. It looks like a bad tick because these things typically don't go down. They only go down for the most part, a little bit with interest rates, but they only go down like this when there's credit concerns. So, and there is. Don't kid yourself. There is. Some of the bank preferreds are down 20% in the last couple of days. They don't start hitting that stuff until there's credit concerns. There is.
Let's just throw a stock in here, and then I see a good question from the chat. It's just an old peg. I have no idea why Overstock rallied yesterday. OSTK went from 267 to 317. I mean, I see a triple bottom in there at 260. So some people might be playing some lower price stocks. They bought a ton of it. They pushed it higher. Still overall long term. Stock's gotten whooped, so I mean,
this is also a coronavirus play.
Overstock?
Why?
Sure.
Why?
Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, because it hasn't went yet. Why?
Sure. Why wouldn't it be? It's online delivery.
Overstock?
Do they It's just
it's an online retailer. What do you mean?
It's an online retailer, but are they selling food?
No, but they're selling everything else. I don't know. Maybe but they sell everything else.
Okay, so for me, from my perspective, and this is your perspective, from my perspective, it's what is really going is companies that are selling food online and delivering it. Food.
I don't know. I don't know if you.
So I don't know if Overstock does food. That's why I would say it is not. Apron is going up because they sell food online. They deliver it. That's why it's going up. I don't know if Overstock sells food. So food and pharmaceuticals. That's those stocks are going.
I don't know if they sell food, but if we're looking,
like it looks like I'm on their site right now. It looks like they sell furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think maybe I think you're really stretching there to say this is a coronavirus stock. Just my opinion, because they're not selling food.
Well,
if they were selling food, Spencer, I'd be like, that's a good idea, but they're not. That's why I'd say no.
Good question here from Bull from Trading. He says, Joel Dennis, what do you think will happen when a vaccine is announced?
Like an official, we have it. This works, we have it. Is that what the question?
Yeah. I mean, my first question is, when are we gonna, like from the time that we have it, how long is it gonna get to, through the process and actually be able to use a year?
A year.
So, I mean,
I think the better thing would be something gets announced as a cure. So, I mean, like something like this helps. We're seeing stuff that helps a little bit, but it's like, no, this is it. This is going to start curing people. Market rallies 20% overnight. Not joking. Like we go up 4,000 Dow points on that. If they have cure, that bails everything out. It changes everything overnight. That's the bull scenario. Is that boom? We've got this. This drug is working. I think the market just rips like you've never seen it rip before. I hope that happens, but I don't think we're that close to a cure. I think we're close to things that are. I just gotta blow my nose, but because of sinus infection. But I think. Go ahead.
I know. I was going to say. I think it would be a literal and a figurative V bottom, right? We get a vaccine. I think there's a chance that we just shoot back up to new highs within days or weeks.
New highs. Please don't.
That's a V bottom.
Yeah.
And not the vaccine, the cure. There's two things.
Yeah. Don't say new highs.
Okay.
Don't say new highs.
We got to
anymore.
differentiate.
I'm sorry.
Between the vaccine and the cure. The vaccine is in the works. They will get a vaccine, but we're probably, a minimum like towards the end of the year. Think about that. It's not going to happen sooner than that. But if they find a drug that works right now that's already in existence, like we know Gilead is something, try to work, Regeneron is something that's working a little bit. They find one that's like, this works, that's the V bottom. For sure. If that works,
maybe not new highs. New highs was a little ambitious.
And the reason that I took such a stern response to that is because you got to figure in the damage that's already been done. Okay.
So much damage.
Yeah.
You're ruining generations of investors again. This happened in the financial crisis. This is why I never went 100% back into the market. I was 100% in the financial crisis. And then, I did lighten up a little bit because I kind of, you could kind of see it happening part of the way down. But I said I will never invest 100% of my wealth into the stock market again because I watched what happened during the financial crisis, and I watched a lot of stocks go from, I had a bank stocks. Remember, I had AIG, I had Citigroup. I watched my Citigroup stock go from $60 a share to $1. I was like, I will never buy a bank stock again in my long-term portfolio, and I don't. I don't know. Like, I have a couple little Canadian bank stocks, maybe indirectly through an ETF, but for the last 10 years, I didn't participate in the banks whatsoever. My portfolio was full of tech and stuff that didn't have debt, because I learned the hard way in the financial crisis. So that's what you're doing again. You are ruining a generation of investors here. People, are still believing that we haven't totally ruined them yet. We get this, cure tomorrow. The party will be back on. But I don't think that's happening. And I think, I potentially think, Fari said you could go to Dow 14,000. It's possible. Don't kid yourself at this point in time. Don't say that's absurd. We were, joking because we were trying to find somebody who's more bearish than I am. It's possible. So you got to be prepared for that. So make sure your portfolio is positioned that you can stomach it to Dow 14,000, because that could happen, and it could happen fast.
It's what
With
we've
that
been
being
saying.
said, I don't want to just come off that. I think the market's crashing and burning. We're down a long ways already. If you're selling out of all your stocks now, you're pretty late to the party. You're pretty late. Like I said, I'm still selling into rips.
I don't know.
Do you want to liquidate everything, Joel, and just go to cash and forget about it? My wife does. I'm stopping. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to 100% cash.
I wanted to do it all the time on the way up, and I've wanted to do it all the time on the way down. So I'm not a good barometer of that. Is fortunately be able to to move some stuff around 29.50, and I'm really glad that I did, but not enough. Dennis, did you make the New York Post?
And people are, and I knew you'd be upset. That was the E-mini quote. Joel read that quote, and he wasn't going to speak to me for 2 days after that one.
Is that the same one that was in Reuters?
Yeah, that was for a couple. No, Reuters is different. I was talking about.
When did you talk to the New York Post? I didn't know you were in the smutty magazines.
You read the Reuters? Yeah, no, it's just on the
New York
trading.
Post.
That was 2 days ago.
Unsubscribe.
My favorite,
Unsubscribe.
It's my favorite.
Unsubscribe.
Dennis is in the New
They
York
publish
Post.
anybody in that paper.
Gosh darn it. You are too. You know what? I got to bow to you, Dennis. You were in the New York Post, man.
Joel loves the New York Post.
Oh my God.
Are you a fan of the New York Post?
They just come up with the absolute most dire stories. And it's so funny because you read it and you see it. And then like 2 days radio, I don't even listen to radio anymore because I'm not in my car going downtown or anything. But I listen to sports radio and different radio, and I'll see something in the New York Post. And then 2 days later, they'll be like, "Oh, our special segment." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I knew about that 2 days ago. But I do want to do a little bit of bragging. Okay.
What do you got?
Emily's going to have some pictures in Reuters either today or tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Pictures of coronavirus stuff?
Yeah, of course. Lisa's office is switched over to virtual medicine, and they've changed the procedures in their office.
So they're not having patients come in anymore?
Well, they're having patients come in. They're taking their temperatures at the door. And then if they have a temperature, they're not allowing in. And she is considering some other moves right now, but she hasn't made any official moves on it yet. But she's still very, very concerned. But so Emily came in and took some pictures of her and the other doctors, practicing telemedicine, like that stock. And she has some freelance contracts with Reuters, and she submitted it to Reuters, and Reuters is going to use it as part of a bigger story.
Nice.
I have not looked yet, but yeah, she's already been in the Post. I mean, I hate to be saying something positive about something that's so negative, but she's getting started in her freelance career here in Michigan, and that's what she did.
We want to hear positive stories.
Yeah,
so it's good to hear positive stories in this. I mean, everything has been pretty ugly. People have lost a lot of money. A lot of people are starting to get sick. People know people who have gotten sick, and obviously the news flow is probably still going to be predominantly negative. So when we could say something positive, I think it's important we say it.
Ray Dalio estimates corporate losses in the U.S. from the virus will top $4 trillion. Isn't he not hedged up? Did he not see this coming? So like when I see comments like that, I mean, no time to be a contrarian now, but I don't know where was good old Ray, when the market was at the top. Was he preaching caution then? So, these guys can come on and say these things, but you know what? No one knows. Dennis doesn't know. Well, Dennis did, did pretty good on this, but no one knows. You can just throw that crap out the window. Oh, 4 trillion. It could be 10 trillion. It could be who the hell knows? But what I do know is that and you can put on my patriotic hat. We're going to change. We're going to adapt. We're going to come out of this a changed country in a much better way. So, do you guys want to make any more comments on that, or do we want to?
Well, I do want to start maybe reading more econ data because it'll be interesting.
Okay.
We did get initial jobless claims for the week, and jobless claims for last week, initial claims for this week, continuing jobless claims for March 6th, 1.7 million, which was a light on the 1.725 million estimate. The prior reading was revised downward, and initial claims for this week 281,000 versus 220,000 estimate. So more jobless claims than expected this week in the initial reading.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these the next number is the one that's going to be the doozy, man.
They're gonna be bad. They're gonna be bad.
Yeah.
For a while there, the only economic data point we really followed on this show was the jobs number every month, and I think now could potentially get some more movement off some other numbers as they come in and they're really bad.
Exactly.
So do you want to start paying more attention to that? We haven't addressed this on the show today yet, but they are closing the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I think just temporarily, but starting on Monday. And I'm wondering, I'm wondering what kind of effects that could have. I know it's all electronic now anyways, but it could potentially maybe affect the closing auctions, I'm thinking. I don't know, because nobody will be on the floor to.
I mean, it's pretty much done by the computer. Most of it's automated now, so I don't think it's going to affect too much. Obviously we don't have the human intervention to come in if needed, if there's a really volatile situation, which is the benefit that the New York Stock Exchange has. But 90% of the market's electronic anyways now, so maybe 95% of it. So I don't really see anything of serious. I think it's smart. Why have the people down there? Obviously, we don't need more people getting sick.
Right. I'm surprised they hadn't closed it, but they're only closing it because they had confirmed cases on the floor. So.
Yeah, which is scary in itself. I guess those people who were confirmed actually weren't on the floor that week. It was from the week before, but still scary.
Still scary.
It's all scary. Everything is scary. So let's take a few tickers. Tickers. Obviously, we talked about Blue Apron briefly. I mean, it's up 44% because they deliver food. I mean, you were kicking yourself a little bit, Spencer, because you thought about this last week.
I thought about this too, and I don't even know if I mentioned it. I may not have said anything, but I definitely thought about this guy like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just kicking myself because by sheer coincidence, I got suckered into a different meal delivery service like a month ago. And I just canceled it. But I was using it, and I never had before. So this was sort of on my radar here, and I thought about it, but I didn't do anything. And
that's welcome to being a trader. That's me all the time. I thought about it, but I didn't do anything.
Which stock
for every
was that?
trade I do, there's 10 trades that I thought about. I didn't do it.
Blue Apron. Yeah. Hey, Spencer, take a look at the Slack chat, okay?
Yep, I would try to maybe we'll try to get Jason Rising on the show today. Yep.
Oh, I wanted to do like a special guest thing and then a surprise special guest, and then you ruined it.
Sorry, I ruined it.
You're fired.
You didn't indicate in the Slack it was meant to be a surprise, so therefore it is not
my
ruined.
Thoughts on Blue Apron is it's a gift right now. These things can continue for a while, but don't get married to this position. This is like a hot potato. You don't know where it's going to end. It will end ugly when it ends. And I think when we look at the 6 months from now, it's back to $2. But right now it's on squeeze. There's lots of room because this thing's had reverse splits. I mean, this thing could go anywhere. So don't just think it, necessarily, it's done. I'm going to short it here. I wouldn't want to be shorted. I wouldn't want to be long, and it's a no touch for me. Just gambling
now. We got another question in the chat. Ticker dropped in there, and let me go back to it now because I didn't write it down. FLIR. Rob Hood asked about FLIR.
Okay.
This is one that I've not looked at, but I want to bring it. I saw it had rallied a little bit.
I don't follow the system or this company whatsoever. Thermal imaging. I'm just looking,
Yeah, what do they do?
Well, thermal imaging. So they're going to make the, I'm sure they probably make the temperature gauges. I'm sure people are thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it's probably not a huge, I don't know if that's their whole business. There's obviously a lot of things too, but I think
we got a little rally going on. What's going
on?
What's going on? We got a little rally going on.
Little rally. 10 handles doesn't even feel.
Any goddamn rally we can get, I'm taking, Dennis.
I think the Fleur Systems makes those handheld temperature, the people that they're using. So could this potentially take off because of that? It's a reach, but.
Hey, Spencer, can you call Raz?
I'm working on it right now.
We're doing a lot of different things. Let's stay focused here. We're talking Fleur Systems, Joel. So I'm telling you what they are. Before you give your technical, I'm telling you that this is a stock that makes the handheld temperature gauges that people are using. I believe that they do.
And I don't know.
So it could be a coronavirus play for that reason. But does it blast off into orbit because of that? I don't know if I bet on it.
On a relative basis, it held up. It didn't make a new low for the move. So if you wanted if you want to lean on that, that fact that it didn't make a new low yesterday, you can lean on 28.48. Hey, Spencer, if I call Raz on Slack, will it come through?
No.
No?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm saying. On a relative basis, it didn't make a new low for the move. Keep an eye on the mark, right? 33.67. It closed near the high of the day. If you're playing this for a short-term play, 37.81 is your next target. Boom. That's a nice juicy target. And then we'll just call it $38 because I see another high at 38.10. If you're a cheapo and you want to wait for a pullback, you basically had a 5-point move, 2.5, 30.5, try and buy to 31. So there's FLIR on the hop.
Small piece of their business. It's kind of like 3M makes masks. So, everybody was off about, oh, we got to buy 3M stock. Well, it's like 2% of their business. And you've seen what's happened to 3M.
Also, like,
so
let's
it's not
say
what I'm looking at. Like, oh, this is going to rip.
No.
I don't think so.
And also, what if we get some like really good news and we get a cure or a vaccine?
Well, then everything, we already did that scenario. We're up 20% over.
No. But this stock, our thermometers are gonna, be as big a deal.
Well, this is construction stuff. Intern in the chat is saying it's construction more than anything. So again, I'm just going to say that, and we are getting a little bit of a rally here. I'm getting hit on my shorts. So just 1 second as I try to trade out of stocks.
Okay.
Man, it's hard to buy the SPY even. It's like, boom, I missed, boom, I missed, boom. You're trying to buy to hedge yourself up. Stuff moves. I got to cancel all orders because we're going up too much.
Okay. All right. For me, right now, I'd like to see us clear 67.50. Do I have to give handles and everything now? And the reason I like this 67.50 area is because after we hit the low and went all the way back above 2,400 and we came all the way back to 22, it looks like 23.20. Just when I sat down at my desk at like 6:15, 6:30, we were stalling out at just above 67.50.
But we got overnight. How low did we get overnight? You said again?
We got 10 points from the low.
So that's the line in the sand, the 228 SPY.
That's a good number.
That's the line in the sand now. So if you want to try to call a bottom here, if you want to, I'm not saying we're going to, but if you want to, that's your out. So you're 228. If you're buying it here at 236, you're risking what? 3%, 2.5%, 3%, 8 points up on about 3%. So if you want to try to call a bottom here, that is the line in the sand. That is the one that I would be leading on.
All right, I'm bringing on, I guess, today's surprise guest, who is no longer a surprise now because I ruined it apparently. But Jason Resnick, I don't know if Jason, can you hear me? I think you can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good morning. Yes. Do you want to show your face to us, or no?
It's not that. It's not that pretty. I don't know.
Not that pretty. Okay.
Well, our faces aren't pretty either, there, Jason.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Especially yours, Dennis. I agree. So wait, can you guys hear me good though?
Yeah, you sound great, Raz.
Okay, cool. So I don't know. You guys reached out, this market has been, it's obviously not a straight up market. So some things I've been doing is hedging with some shorts. One of the biggest shorts I've hedged, and I've been screaming at the top of my lungs about it, is Aramark. They do the
What's the ticker on that? What's the ticker on that?
I always screw up the letter. It's either ARMK or AMRK. I think it's ARMK or AMRK. Just Aramark. ARAMARK.
ARMK is a symbol.
Woo!
Alpha Roger Michael King.
Okay. So I shorted at 29.40. Told everyone at Benzinga about it. They do, when all those little Pizza Huts that you see like at universities or all the stadium sports, they do the vending. That's what they do. And the stock didn't move. It was stayed at 29 for like 2 or 3 days, even when this stuff was happening. So shorted it and bought some puts. Same thing.
You shorted it outright, Raz, or did you just do it with puts?
Shorted it outright at 29. Shorted it. Can show you my position. I have not bought one share back.
Do you think this is a potential zero?
I don't know when to buy it back. I got it.
That's always the toughest part.
That is the toughest part.
With the cover.
I just did buy back some puts I had on Carnival. I have Carnival March 20s, April 20s. I bought back the Carnivals because they were up like 300, 400%, and they expire tomorrow. And so I did that, But so my philosophy is you got to hedge some of this long stuff. I'm for sure long. I'm for sure getting hit on some longs. There's no question. But my philosophy is you can short the market or find some industries that are, totally messed up, and short them. Because why would the cruise industry just go from, whatever the government does, people keep saying, oh, Trump's going to bail out the cruise industry. I still don't believe, though, that's going to affect the stock price. Like that's going to have a big impact. I just don't. So Those are the plays I've been hedging, and I keep finding new ones to hedge. Like there's a company, Wingstop. The stock didn't fall a cent during this. Didn't fall a cent, not one penny, literally. And so 2 days ago, I saw it. I was looking at all the food stocks. I was at quote.benzinga.com. I typed a food stock in. I saw Wingstop was basically at, didn't do anything.
Well, it's down. The high was at 103 from a month ago. It's
yeah, but look at it like 3 days ago. It was like $65. It didn't move for like a week and a half, and then yesterday it finally moved 17%. So I'm looking at stuff that hasn't moved, or or Penn National Gaming. That was another one. They just had a buyout of this company called Barstool Sports. It's a small sports media website, and they use a lot of leverage. I look at companies that have a lot of leverage, and in this environment, that's not great. So shorted that. So just and I haven't really covered much except for that Carnival. Short Win Casinos.
Hey Raz, let me interrupt for 1 second here.
Please.
On that Aramark, that everyone knows what a crazy sports fan I used to be, right? And with Michigan football, Michigan basketball. Ooh,
sorry.
That's okay. And I'm sitting here looking at my renewal for Michigan football tickets, right? And I mean, when I did this, and I talked about this on the Corlin Economic Report, when we do come out of this is going to be a changed world. Okay. Sports. I mean, do you think I give a hoot about a Michigan football game or a Michigan basketball game? Or,
personally, I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I get to go back to one soon, but I'm just thinking that, the priorities are going to be, much different. And when referring to this Aramark, I mean, they do the stadiums for these sports. I mean, sports is in, if we don't get a handle on this soon, I mean, sports is toast. I mean, we lost the NCAA tournament. Who knows
Joel,
about the
short term though.
Joel, I agree with you, Dennis. Go ahead, Dennis.
I was just going to say that's a short-term issue. Like right now, and even like I was saying, and I was trying to get into, I in the last month or two, because the news flow on this coronavirus has been so scary, it's hard to get interested in anything else. Once this virus goes away, once we get past all this, some stuff will go back to normal and people will watch sports. I mean, I'm excited to start watching sports. I miss sports. It's the one thing I miss the most right now.
Me too. And Dennis, so here and Joel, and this is one thing that I think is going to change. Like, you said short term for sports, but here's what I think is going to change long term for investing. And this is where I've gone to it. And I don't know all the ones. I want to look at MLPs today. So we were all buying, or a lot of us were buying growth stocks, like the Teslas that I love, like the, Googles. A lot of us are buying growth stocks. Okay. I think what's going to happen in this environment is people are going to buy dividend producing stocks. So I've been looking at the MLPs, Wendy's, which is a food, you guys know Wendy's, it's down to like $7. This is what it was at like 8 years ago. It has a dividend now of 7%. I'm not saying to buy it yet, because what they're going to do is reduce royalties to their partners. They're literally just going to reduce the royalties at the partners that they charge. And so, at some point, Wendy's could be a good buy, but you don't know, because you just don't know. But what I'm trying to find is dividend producing stocks. So I increased my REIT position. So I'm not just shorting stuff, by the way. I increased REITs. Like 3 different REITs I bought yesterday.
What'd you buy in REITs? Because that sector is just murdered. What'd you buy?
I bought a local one in Michigan called Agri Development, Alpha Dog Charlie ADC. The reason I did is it's gotten murdered. And their tenant base is like Walmart's and like these big, they're not a bunch of restaurants. It's companies that Walgreens that are paying the rent, and these are fixed 100-year contracts. So it's pretty set up for a recession. And the CEO is working on that for 3 years, 3 years setting up for a recession. So that's one of the ones. I own another one called Sun Communities. It's mobile home parks. The problem with mobile home parks, with all the layoffs of people, are they going to have their money for rent? That's like, so that's the question. With that
but Jason, going back to the dividends for a second, how concerned are you that companies are not going to come in? Like, do you think that they can come in there and just start cutting dividends? Because that seems like the most likely.
What Darden did is today. Darden just suspended the dividend.
Oh, did they?
DRI.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it suspended it today. 10% yield. It's suspended temporarily.
So Darden is one of my bigger shorts. So I'm glad I don't have to accumulate that dividend.
What is the difference between Darden and Wendy's?
I'll tell you. So Wendy's Tryon, Nelson Peltz, Tryon, Nelson Peltz. He's famous that he's the the activist investor, and it's very smart. I think that they are less levered, but Wendy's, I didn't also say to you I bought Wendy's stock. I did buy Wendy's stock. $8. It went down to $7.50 and I got out of it because I am afraid they're going to cut the dividend. I'm not saying to you to go out and buy Wendy's. I am saying to you though, it is one of those ones with a 6% dividend that may cut the dividend because the royalties are going to go down. Darden had to cut their dividend though, Dennis, for a different reason. Darden owns a lot of high-end restaurants, so nice steakhouses.
Right.
But guess what's even worse? They own a lot of high-end steakhouses. If it was just that, and they laid off a lot of employees, their steakhouses, Spencer, are in the most high rent district in the world, and they have the top places in the world. Their rent is through the roof. Darden is going to keep I've shorted Darden for a while now, but it's going to keep getting hit, I think, because the high rent. Wendy's, Brent, Dennis, on the other side, can stay open. Drive-throughs, it can stay open, but I think it'll weather the storm more.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with all that. I do take issue though. I wouldn't call Olive Garden high end. That's just my opinion.
It's sit down though, not drive through. So there is a distinction there. I mean,
yes,
drive through restaurants, McDonald's, Wendy's. It's sit down. You go in and have a nice meal.
I know what he meant. I know what he meant. I just.
It's a good point.
Could someone find out why the hell we're rallying like this real quick? I don't have my pro up. Maybe ask Brent, because we got a spirited rally going on here.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Seller exhaust.
Raz, I want to hop in here from the chat. We got Go for the W wants to know what you think of Starbucks. I guess
oh my God, Go for the W. Like Joel, like before Spencer ripped me on the Olive Garden, and I agree. It's that's fair. But I was about to mention Starbucks. So Starbucks, very interesting. I got two things on that. I would love to hear your feedback, guys.
Okay.
I'm looking to short Starbucks right now. My reason to short Starbucks is twofold. One is that a lot of the Starbucks locations, I don't think anyone's accounting for this really, are in office complexes. They're in office buildings.
That's true.
So
That's
many
true.
Starbucks. So without the offices and you're at home, what I think is going to happen a lot right now is people are buying Keurigs and making coffee at home. I know, like, we don't have a K-Cup machine. I want to go to Costco and get a Keurig machine. So Starbucks, I think, are going to take a hit, even though they have drive-throughs and stuff. And Starbucks has taken a little bit of a hit. Don't get me wrong, but I think Starbucks has more to fall. But people right now are buying Starbucks because they're saying, "Look, it's low, like Apple. I'm going to buy it." So it's one that I kind of want to take a short on, I want to buy some puts actually. And I think that with all the locations they have, even Spencer Ames are not in office complexes, they're near office buildings. They go where the action is.
And also high rent areas.
Great point. The only benefit it has though versus and maybe it's not Dart as much, more of the Roost Chris or the high end steakhouse ones. There's a couple other restaurants like that have high rent. The only advantage Starbucks is it has lower rent, But like I know one of the most busy Starbucks is in New York, across from JP Morgan's headquarters. I think it's like the top 10.
It's right next door. Yeah, I used to go there. Yep, it's right next door to JP Morgan.
So I talked to a buddy yesterday, and I asked that question. He said there is no one in the store. So that's my thing. I think Starbucks. So I don't know. Go for the W. I don't know what you think about it, but I do think this room, pre-market prep, we should look at dividend stuff, like try to find some good
value
dividend
stocks. Yep.
Because I don't have like a list, like your question about Wendy's. It's not my whole thing is that you can just drive through, but I don't have a list of good state. Back in the day, in our parents' day, our parents' day back in the day, they found these nice dividend companies like General Electric and IBM and Microsoft. There isn't that comfort these days. So I would challenge all of us guys to find some nice dividend stocks, you know, maybe MLPs or what have you, oil. I don't know. I mean, ExxonMobil used to be one of those, but you know, you want some stocks that you won't lose your principal, but you'll get dividends. I mean, by the Fed lowering the interest rates to zero, well, what do we do with our money? You know, if we have any money, like, what do we do with it? Well,
yeah, and I don't think people are going to be spending, you know, $5 on you know, a Starbucks coffee. You know, if they're, I mean, for me, I just get the double shot of espresso, and then I say, oh, you put a tad of coffee in there, and it cost me like $1.50. But I'm not going to be doing that much. Okay, Raz, are you ready?
Wait,
I just say AT&T. Like, I mean, you could talk about AT&T.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
6.54% dividend now. Everybody loved it back when it was 38, 39. It's $31. It's obviously holding up better because look, AT&T is not going out of business, I don't think, here.
No, that's good. That's a good one.
So that's a thought process here of a stock that I had sold this because I had sold this a while ago. I had my long-term portfolio for a long time, and I was concerned about their margins getting squeezed over time as competition gets more intense, cutting the cord, all the other stuff. But none of that's really on the table here right now. So, you know, if you're looking, you know, for a dividend play, 6.54%, I think the AT&T dividend is safe.
Yep. No, that's a great one. And then I think that's a great one. And then I can't, you know, and then the other one that I think about shorting, and I maybe a little bit short, but I'm thinking about is Tiffany's. I'm looking at high-end retail that is going to take a hit just on this stuff. It's kind of what Joel said, you know, that
Jason,
normal.
Tiffany's because it has a takeover on the table.
Right.
So this one is interesting though, because we talked about this 2 days ago on the show, Jason. We're starting to see stocks that are getting taken over for cash start to go down because they're worried those deals aren't going to go through. If Tiffany's deal doesn't go through, this thing could be at $60. Not joking. It could fall. It could get cut in half in one day. If it goes through, it's 135. I think the cash takeout price I think is 135. So at 110, you're like 25 points if the deal goes through. If it doesn't, probably gets cut by 50. So, it's just a bet on deal or no deal.
Hey, we got a good one from
it crashed $5 a couple of days ago.
Oh, it's because people are. It crashed yesterday. It crashed big time because people are worried about the deals that are on the table. We'll see it at LogMeIn too. LOGM, same story. Got hit pretty hard. I said I'm short Cypress Semiconductor right now. I'm short it. I said on the show a few days ago that I shorted after I talked about it because I'm like, I don't know. This deal falls apart. Cypress Semiconductor is like a $12 stock. If the deal goes through, it's 23. I kind of like the upside, 23 and a half, I think.
Yeah, because you know someone's not going to come in and bid 25 for it.
Not in this environment.
Yeah.
No, hey, wait, Joel, one question to you. Are you still super long Beyond Meat?
I believe it or not, I lost money buying puts on that thing. We got a great one in the chat here. Waste Management, WM.
Wow.
I mean, garbage is never going to go out of business. The only thing is, you know,
what's the chat?
I mean, you know, that's had a nice rally from 90 to 110. But Raz, before I let you go, man, the $1 million question here, a stock that you've loved for a long time. What about Tesla?
Yes. So, well, Tesla, and one other thing, Zoom video. I'm staying long Zoom video for the foreseeable future. Just even what it goes to. Pay attention to Zoom video. I have some color in that industry. People are moving to this, you know, webinar.
We use it.
Stuff.
We use it right now. We're using it right now.
It's great. So, Raz, you know how many different, you know, things we tried to run the show on. I remember when Adam Bratt was trying to figure out, because Dennis was in Canada and I was in the office, and we were trying to bring guests on. And this is seamless. Even I can run it too. I mean, that's how easy it is to use.
I know. So Zoom is up today. Keep watching that. So Tesla, I took a little bit off at 540 or 640. It was between 540 and 640. And thinking of getting back in. So here's what's going to happen on Tesla. You know, obviously they're going to have to stop production right now. They were 6 months ahead on their Model Y. The Semi is going to have some news out very soon. I'm still a believer in Tesla in a big way because it has the best auto pipeline of anyone in the world. And so you're getting to valuations where Tesla is a stock that literally goes up and down, up and down. It's not for the faint. You know, it's not for someone that doesn't want a stress-free stock. I could see it fall another $60 or so. But I'm a buyer. Like I'm a long-term buyer in this thing. I think it's going to be way higher. And I like the people that I know that get these Model 3s nonstop. I told Spencer Israel 2 years ago that there'll be one in every parking lot, and he like thought after he had a meeting with me that I shouldn't say that if I don't believe it, but I did. And well, now it's but now it's 2 years later. And I said a Model 3 in every parking lot. I see 3 Model 3s in every parking lot now. 3, and I think
we're on the line with Jason Resnick. He's the founder of Benzinga, longtime investor, building a young company here. Raz, let's just ask you real quickly. I mean, you're one of these small businesses out here, and it's a tough environment here, and I don't know if you're going to be eligible for any of this government stuff here, but just talk what it's like. I mean, you got to, besides taking care of your family, and you're running a small company here. How are you doing things, and how are you changing the way the company conducts itself here, in a situation that probably honestly you never thought you would be confronted with?
No, I mean, that's two things on that. One thing about, we're White House correspondents, so I was going to go to the White House Sunday to be in the press room on Monday so I can ask Trump a question about some of the things he's doing, because I don't think that we're thought of as often and into real people's lives. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes at our company. We're trying, we gotta, change it for the better. But I mean, think about our events business, right? I mean, we have an event every month or every 2 months, physical events. We can't have those anymore. Like, we can't have them. So there's drastic changes that are going to happen. I do want people to I honestly think people should be at home, work from home, and try to get back to sort of like a new normal, that we're not just watching Corona all day. We're smartly staying home. We're not going to interact with people. We're not going to the gym. We're staying home. But let's get back to business as usual in America, because that's how our economy has prospered over the years. But it is a new normal. It is stressful, because I have a mentality that we're Rocky, that Benzinga is Rocky, and we want to fight for the good cause. And it's sad that these kind of times are going. And so I really appreciate the pre-market prep loyal community. If you guys are listening, please tell your friends to tune into the show. We need more support now. We need help and words. And Charles, Joel setting up a little donation campaign on the site. Just put the money in the donation so we can keep the satellite working. But no, seriously, it is a time that it's not for the faint of heart, and it's something that we're taking seriously and spending a lot of hours and a lot of stress. And I do appreciate guys like you, Joel, checking in on me and seeing how I'm doing. So I do appreciate it.
What about, did you see the Ackman rant?
Yes, saw the whole thing live.
And what do you think?
Thought he raised some really good points about just take a spring break. I thought he raised some really good points. I mean, the thing is, our costs don't stop, Joel. Our rent that we pay in Detroit doesn't stop. So those are some of the things that have to figure that out. But do I think he's right that we should stay home for 30 days? Yeah, I mean, anything to stop this thing, because I believe that they're going to figure out some therapeutics in the near term within the next 3 to 6 months that'll work. Therapeutics, which is different than a vaccine, which will take a year. And so I think there will be some stuff. I was watching Michael Milken. Michael Milken had some stuff on this therapeutics, but he has some great points. Do I think it's the end of the world? I mean, look, China that area had no cases yesterday. You know what I mean? So there's some improvement. There's some flatlining there. No cases yesterday in China, none. So that's a positive. No.
The only new cases coming in, they're getting are the people that are coming in that are escaping Europe and are leaving Europe and going to China to escape it, and they're bringing it with them. But yes. they had no domestic new cases yesterday, which is a big positive. Jason, do you have any thoughts on McDonald's? Somebody in the chat really wants your thoughts on McDonald's.
So McDonald's is one of those ones. I don't know what the dividend is, but one of those ones that's more stable. I'm definitely not a shorter of McDonald's. I think McDonald's is not as much as an office retail play where you can short it. McDonald's one I think is not going to take much more of a hit. I think McDonald's is in a good position. That's one of the few that I would be a buyer of. I mean, even Darden today, guys, is up. Okay, Darden's up $1.40. And when Royal Caribbean was going up, and I was down a lot, it was going up. I tried to short more. I don't think Darden is going to be going up. It just doesn't make any sense right now to me. But McDonald's, that's when I wouldn't short. I would be long it. Seems like a safe play. I don't know. Is there what's the dividend on it? Do you guys know it?
Don't have it in front of me. I can look it up.
I like
dividends 3.68%.
3.68%. I like McDonald's. I don't own it, but that's one I would actually go look at.
I've wanted McDonald's in my long-term portfolio for a long time.
Me too.
The one problem is when we go to, and this is why there could be a little more downside, if they do go to a full quarantine where we're not allowed to leave the house except for essentials, McDonald's will close those drive-thrus as well.
You're saying it's not essential?
Maybe McDonald's can get themselves essential. My kids think the Happy Meals are essential. I'll tell you that much. So my kids would vote that McDonald's is essential. But
so the rumor has it in Michigan they're going to close drive-thrus. Rumor has that.
I think that's coming.
3 days.
And the stocks could take a hit on that too. I think McDonald's is going to be a buy at some point in time, though. This is not going to zero, in my opinion.
I'm for sure putting.
I think it's a buy somewhere, but I think you get it cheaper yet.
I'm for sure putting McDonald's on my list.
On my list too. Putting on the shop. I'm adding it too. I got a list going, Raz.
Yeah,
same thing.
You guys
want to just went on the shopping list.
What you
not buying yet though.
What you should do in the pre-market page is put a list that are on our shopping list. People can come in and you can say like, if we bought or not, because like these are ones that we want to remember. Because again, let's get a more stable portfolio that doesn't fluctuate as much and gets you dividends. So, you get your payment every month, I mean, some of my best stock picks of my entire life were during the 2008 crisis, 2001. Like I bought Sun Communities at like $3 or no, $7 and then $10. It's at 130. But why one of my best picks ever? Yes, the move up was amazing, but the dividends it brought in. And so that's what I want to get back to that game. And not just on speculation, is it going to go 100%? Yeah. Yes, I'm a Tesla fan, but like Spencer, it's something that it's nice to get that income to come in. And it takes a long time to develop it. So if we can find some, 4 to 10% dividends right now, even higher, 10 to 16% on some of these plays, and that we can get them to stable, I think we can really get winning picks in this room here. And let's keep this show going all day.
You're making people hungry. You're making people hungry.
Wait, last thing I want to say, Jason just brought up a great point. Dennis did too. And I was reading this. Michael Batnick wrote this yesterday. Michael Batnick works for Barry Ritholtz and Josh Brown at their firm. Write it down. If it's one thing to think about buying something, but write it down. Write what you want to buy and when you want to buy it. When meaning price or time doesn't matter, but write it down, because without that you have nothing. Write it down. That's the advice for the day.
So then, could you write, Brett Spencer? Take the advice that I'm saying. Can you write it down and put it in our shopping list for the show? So we come in a week, we'll remember these names. We got McDonald's on the shopping list.
Starbucks. That Spencer doesn't move from that spot all day.
I haven't left this table in a week. Jason Resnick is the founder and CEO of Benzinga. Jason, thanks for the time. And
if you want to reach me, I'm jason@benzinga.com is my email, and Twitter @Jason Resnick. Thank you guys for the show.
Thanks, Raz. That was a great segment, man. Who needs Kramer? We got Raz.
It's so nice to be able to hear you guys every morning and bring trust into the market and your opinions. You guys are the best show around. So really,
we're going to get you on more. We're going to get you on more and maybe get Josh on too.
Anytime.
Oh boy. All right. That was Jason Resnick. I want to wrap up our show. Thanks to
Spencer,
him.
Yes. Dennis, you need to go, right? Dennis, you need
I'm
to
go trade. Yeah, I'm gonna go trade.
Yeah, I got a few minutes here. So I want to keep things open. I just want to try, like, one thing Jason said was like Ford suspends dividend to preserve cash.
Just saw that.
There's two things I want to do. One, I want to look at a couple stocks, and one of them is ZM, and I mean, relative performance, this thing is a champ. I mean, I thought this thing was great before. Right. So, man, there's tons of support here at, 103, 104. I know that's a long ways away. So if you get a flush there, that's what I would look at as support. And so keep an eye on that. One other real quick segment that I want to do. A lot of you don't know Brent Slava, and Brent runs our Benzinga Pro news desk. And, I've been talking to a lot of people and getting a lot of information, and I'll tell you, some of the best information I've got is from that guy. And I really appreciate him. You guys don't understand what he's doing on Benzinga Pro. And he has a difficult job of looking at all this information. And not all the information is accurate here. I mean, you're getting, there's people that want to spread rumor and innuendo, and he has a big responsibility on, the Benzinga Pro platform to decipher all that stuff. And I've been closely following, talking to him. He talked to me on my way home on my 12-hour trip back from Virginia. And he put a list together with us. He put it together by himself. And I just want to, Spencer, just bring up the list and tell our people what it is.
Yeah, I guess you can call. I don't really know what you'd call this list. But I guess it's a survival list to some extent. But it's not the same names we've been discussing on this show. It's not the consumer staples. These are 5 stocks that are on Brent's radar today. General Electric, because they make ventilators. Hillrom, ticker is HRC. They also make ventilators. PG&E, PCG, we talked about that. That's the California utility company that's bankrupt. We've talked about that on the show for a year, probably. PCG is on his radar. Utility play, self-explanatory. Universal Technical Institute. I didn't even know that was a publicly traded company until this morning, but it's an online college. And so you have to think with a lot of schools being canceled for the semester now that there may be some potential boon to online education. And Ecolab, ECL, is also on his list, and they make cleaning supplies, disinfectants, and that sort of thing. So GE, HRC, PCG, UTI, and ECL. UTI, that's a horrible ticker. ECL, those are the 5 stocks that are on Brent's radar today. That I don't know what the chart said. I don't know if they've broken out yet. I'm gonna pull up here. I'll pull up like HRC right now on the chart. I haven't looked at it, but yeah, it has broken out. But regardless, these are 5 that Brent's watching.
Okay. All right. We just I don't know. I guess Mnuchin was on Fox.
He's on all the time. It's impossible.
Yeah,
It's impossible to keep track. Everyone is speaking all the time between Kudlow and Mnuchin and even the president. I mean, there's so many public announcements being made that it's impossible to keep track. And we know that there has been some coordination from central banks as far as relief packages. ECB came out yesterday. Fed came out the day before that. So I wouldn't attribute a spike to any one comment, and as we've seen, rallies are to be sold anyway, so I wouldn't put too much weight into any one comment as far as the market's reaction to it.
Okay, all right. I don't know why we're rallying. We're above the mid-range on the session. Like I said,
who knows anything? Yep, who knows anything at this point? One thing I want to say before I forget is just like we've been doing this throughout the entire week, today Joel and I will be on at 3:40 until the close. We'll be joined by Chris Temple from the National Investor, and we're going to talk through what happened today and kind of talk ourselves into the market close and sort of.
You can hear me quote the S&Ps
yesterday, Joel. Yesterday, Joel was live quoting S&Ps, so that was a rally. We've seen a rally at the close for a couple of days now, so who knows what today holds, but we'll be on at 3:40 today with Chris Temple. I want to thank everyone in our chat, both on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Catch the podcast of this show or the replay on YouTube or wherever podcasts are available. Please remember, all the information from our show meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing or trading advice. All right, 9:15. Everyone have a great rest of your morning, great rest of your day. We will talk to you at 3:40, and the whole crew will be back with you tomorrow morning.